In this episode of The World After Coronavirus, we have with us Kishore Mahbubani, diplomat extraordinary and the former and founding dean of the Kuan School of Public Policy in Singapore. What is the future of Asia?
Asia has also been shocked and traumatized by COVID-19. But now that we are like 3 months into this COVID-19 crisis, it is becoming clearer that the responses of many East Asian governments, for example, China, South Korea, Singapore, has been far more competent than that of the advanced Western countries like Italy, Spain, even UK, and now even USA. So what COVID-19 has done is to confirm that the long-term trend of the return of Asia, which was gathering momentum before COVID-19, continues. So it's only in the last 200 years that Europe took off and North America took off. So the past 200 years of Western domination of world history, when viewed against the backdrop of the past 2,000 years, has been, of course, a historical aberration. So we're seeing the end of the era of Western domination. But the end of the era is being accelerated by the incompetent responses of the Western governments to COVID-19. And so, in a sense, what you're seeing now is a glimpse of the post-COVID-19 order in this crisis.
What would you say might be the likely impacts on Asia and Asian economy vis-a-vis global economy?
There's no doubt that the Asian economies will suffer. That was a big question before the COVID-19 crisis came along, that have we reached the end of the road for globalization? And it's quite clear that among the Western countries, there was actually a strong political desire to retreat. I think Asia has exactly the opposite response. Indeed, actually what COVID-19 has proven is that we do live in a small, interdependent, interconnected world, and we have to work with an interdependent, interconnected world. And that's also how we will grow and prosper. So I think Asia's faith in globalization has in no way been diminished by COVID-19. Indeed, I think it'll come back with a renewed vigor. And so, for example, while President Trump is trying to build walls, you will find that the East Asian countries will do the opposite. They'll continue to open up. So the trend towards economic integration, that will not change after COVID-19.
If I could tempt you to turn your gaze towards the other sub-regions in Asia, particularly South Asia, but also West Asia.
If you ask me which region of the two, South Asia and West Asia, I would feel more optimistic about, I would feel far more optimistic for South Asia. By contrast, the West Asians have not demonstrated that at all. In fact, even though some countries are well run, like UAE and Qatar, the level of human development, which is the key indicator of future progress, is still relatively much lower in West Asia than it is in East Asia or South Asia.
The BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative, in a post-COVID world?
I remain very optimistic for the BRI because it basically provides a win-win proposition. China is very strong in many areas. He has a lot of surplus capital, over $3 trillion in its reserves. It also has now the world's best infrastructure building capabilities. It's the only country that can build a hospital in 10 days. And at the same time, there's also a great demand in Asia and the rest of the world for better infrastructure. So it's a win-win. The big question, of course, is whether or not this desire to participate in BRI has in any way been dampened by the COVID-19 crisis. And I think actually is the exact opposite.